My final game preview of week number 2 is the Monday night matchup between the Saints and the Raiders. The Saints are 6-point favorites in this one with the 49.5 point over under. That implies that the Saints are probably going to win this by a touchdown. About 28-21 is the expected score. The biggest note in this game is that Michael Thomas is not expected to be able to play. So he is trying to do everything that he can to come out despite his injury and be able to play, but I don't think it's a realistic scenario that he is out there on the field. So I would be proceeding through the week and to this game with the expectation that he's not going to be available and that you'll need to find a different option to put into your lineups. Let's start at the top. Drew Brees obviously going to be without Michael Thomas. I still expect him to have a decent fantasy day. The targets left over that he has to throw to would be Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, Alvin Kamara are probably going to lead the team in targets, as well as different options like Traquan Smith or possibly Deontay Harris could see a little bit more snaps on offense, as well as his usual return game role. And you have to say that Taysom Hill could see an impact in this game. Probably not enough to start. I think most platforms list Taysom Hill as a quarterback. I'm pretty sure ESPN has him as a tight end. So, depending on your platform is where you're eligible to play him. I feel like all platforms should really adapt, Taysom Hill being able to be put anywhere because he does line up anywhere for this team. He's definitely a true Swiss Army knife, but he doesn't provide enough consistent production to be able to be used for fantasy. I think Emmanuel Sanders is probably going to be the top wide receiving option in this game. He had a strong, week one against the Bucks. It seemed, Thomas was struggling or maybe just getting the coverage. I didn't watch the game fully, but Sanders was impressive to me. I had the kind of opinion coming in that he wasn't going to get too much of the volume, and I definitely left that game feeling a little bit surprised with how much that he did get, as well as Jared Cook. I think both of those two are going to be very good starts this week. Sanders, you're probably not drafted to be as high of a start, so for your wide receiver or your flex play, you're probably debating him or some other options, some higher wide receivers. So if you feel confident enough to go ahead and start Sanders, I feel like he's going to be able to produce a good game for you, give you a good point total. On the ground, I have confidence starting both Kamara and Murray, and so Alvin Kamara is probably going to get some extra checkdowns in this game, just because Brees doesn't have his number one target. So usually if the quarterback doesn't have the number one target, they either go for the security blanket tight end or they go checking down to the running back, and both of those options are very good for Brees. So that's why I expect all three of those players to really be safe starts for you this week. I don't really think anybody's going to disappoint out of those three. Latavius Murray, a little bit more riskier. You're really hoping that he may be able to cash in on a touchdown there for his fantasy value, but I do expect him to get about maybe 40 to 50% of the rushing total, as well as maybe a 2 or 3 receptions here if Kamara is off the field. Moving over to the Raiders side. Henry Ruggs is battling an injury. He was questionable today, Thursday in practice, so that's another one to kind of keep your eye on. And it kind of ties into my Michael Thomas. On one league, I have Thomas, and my replacement would have been Henry Ruggs. So if Henry Ruggs is a little bit banged up going in, you may need to pivot to somebody else in this game, because this would be the last game of the week. So if you're banking on Henry Ruggs being able to play, you might need to ensure that you may have like Hunter Renfrow or Bryan Edwards on your bench just in case Ruggs were to miss this contest. On the ground, Josh Jacobs had a really good week one. He put in 3 touchdowns for you, and was one of the better running backs, just under 100 yards. So I expect him to be a safe start. I don't think he'll get you 3 touchdowns on the ground, but is definitely one to keep in your lineup, despite a tougher matchup this week. And it was interesting. I was watching Good Morning Football the other day or so, and they were talking about how John Gruden was really upset last season that his running back Josh Jacobs did not win Rookie of the Year. So they were kind of speculating that the week one is what we saw of more things to come for Jacobs being able to just use him all over the place and prove that he is a top back in the league. So definitely that is definitely what you want your coach to think about you if you're Jacobs, and for Jacobs fantasy owners, that's a positive sign that the coach is wanting to prove that your running back is very good and one of the top in the league. So it definitely gives me confidence with Josh Jacobs moving forward to be, a top 10 back this year and maybe crack his way into the top 5. Certainly on his way with 3 touchdowns to open up the year. But like I said, a little bit more of a tougher matchup. The Raiders are probably going to have to throw a little bit more, as they would anticipate. We would anticipate them being down in this ball game. So Darren Waller is a good start for you at the tight end position, as well as I said about Ruggs before. If he is able to play in this game, I have the belief that he'll be able to put up a good fantasy day for you. But if not, you'll probably have to pivot to Hunter Renfrow or Bryan Edwards, or potentially a tight end from either side if you have one. Or maybe some of those other, lesser options that I mentioned earlier it would be ones that you'd have to pivot to, being that this is the Monday night game for week 2. So it should be a good one. Should be a good close to the second week of the season with some good offensive production coming from both sides for this matchup.